For the second year in a row, I've come to the land down under to get my hands on the iPhone 16. I had a ton of fun at the launch over at Apple Sydney, and this year I decided to do something different. This year more than ever, it seems the difference between the 16 and 16 Pro, and especially the colors, are seeing a ton of scrutiny. So to get to the bottom of it, I bought every single color of iPhone 16 and 16 Pro, and today I'm gonna unbox and compare all 9. God help me, why did I do this? That's a lot of iPhones, but let's get into it right after a word from today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by ESR and their new stash stand cases for iPhone 16. These cases offer a sleek design with a slim yet durable build that means you can protect your phone without sacrificing MagSafe charging speeds. With 3 tiers to choose from: Classic Hybrid for a slim profile, Cloud Soft for a comfortable grip, and Cyber Tough for ultimate protection, you can find the perfect case for your iPhone 16. By integrating the kickstand into the camera ring, ESR has increased protection around this crucial spot while also delivering a simple and convenient stand for your phone. And Cyber Tough cases step protection up even further with a 3-layer design that can withstand drops from up to 23 feet. And what better to complement your stash stand case than ESR's Armorite screen protector? It's easy to install and can withstand an impressive 110 pounds of edge pressure to keep your display intact. So check out the links to learn more about ESR's new offerings, and now let's get back to the video. So let's start with the regular iPhone 16, which this year I think is a really compelling value, and we've got 3 really fun new colors: Ultramarine, Teal, and Pink. Honestly, I'm gonna start with the blue. I was gonna try to do the old start with the boring and then get to the fun ones, but I just cannot wait any longer. Ever since I saw this thing in the keynote, I needed to get my hands on it and see if it looks as good in person as it did on video. Oh my god, this color is so good. I absolutely love the new camera design, and the saturation of this color is just incredible. It almost looks like the camera bump is glowing. That is just something. Let's do our usual peel. Oh man, you just can't go wrong with that, can you? And in the box this year, we've got a slightly redesigned packaging. We've got a thinner loop here, and because I'm in Australia, I get a SIM eject tool and a SIM card tray. Now, in my opinion, this blue is the best color, and I teased you guys with that right off the back, so now I'm gonna punish you with the white iPhone 16. And look, to be quite honest, I don't get why anyone would buy an iPhone 16 in white or black. I'm falling asleep already. It's a nice looking phone. I think that Apple really did a good job with the 16 regular. The first time the camera bump has been changed in years, and I'm honestly quite surprised that we get the new camera control button on the regular iPhone. Normally, Apple gatekeeps the new features like Dynamic Island and the action button from the base model iPhone, but this year we've got the action button coming down from the 15 Pro and camera control on all models. So the regular iPhone 16 is in the best position that it has been in a really long time. And internally, of course, we also get the A18 chip, which means the iPhone 16 is leapfrogging 2 generations. So really, the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro are more competitive than they've ever been. Let's move on to pink. Now that is not a boring color, let me tell you. One of my favorite things this year is that Apple has finally put some more ink in the printer. We've got some real saturation. Oh, geez. Now that is pink. I mean, come on. This is a great color. Not one that I would personally get, but the saturation on these phones is just something to behold. So we've only got one left, and that is Teal. And honestly, I was pretty torn in the keynote between this and Ultramarine for what would be my favorite color. You know, honestly, it's a little darker than I thought it was gonna be. I like this shade of green on the camera control button, but I think compared to Ultramarine, that's a pretty clear comparison, folks. Ultramarine is the best iPhone color. Hands down, full stop. This phone looks absolutely incredible. When you set these phones up, the first thing that I'm noticing as an iPhone Pro user is the lack of ProMotion. Now that the regular iPhone 16 is so fully featured, I honestly had the thought of downgrading from a Pro to a regular, just because this looks that good. But I guess that means it's time to see how these phones compare to the 16 Pro. And this year, the color choices on the 16 Pro have drawn a lot of scrutiny, mainly because they're all extremely boring. Let's dive in with what I think is the most boring color. That's gotta be natural titanium. I have to say, I do miss the old days of Apple unboxings when you had that plastic film around it. There was just something special about breaking that seal that you don't get with the pull tabs. Although, environmentally, I definitely understand why they made the switch. Let's see that natural, oh wait, this is white. Dude, I can't even tell the difference from the box. They look the same. Honestly, this is a color that I regret not picking last year on the 15 Pro, just because I actually really like the bright color of the back, and you still get those natural unpainted titanium sides that don't scratch or smudge as easily as the darker colors. All right, so now we'll do the natural titanium. Thank you very much. Oh God, oh no, my pull tab. Yeah, you see, I have a natural titanium 15 Pro Max. I am someone who can't keep the same color from year to year, because otherwise I can't even tell that I have a new phone, because that's kind of where we are in iPhone design. And of course, the big difference this year between the 16 and the 16 Pro is that display. You can really see the difference not just in bezels, but in the actual size of the display and the size of the phone. All right, let's do the black titanium next. I did appreciate when the iPhone 14 Pro came out and we moved away from space gray, because I think that this matte black aesthetic is more interesting. I would personally rather have that on the Pro than on the regular 16, but you can actually see a very, very, very subtle difference in shading. The Pro also has a bit more of a satin finish as opposed to matte. So if you are a matte black everything type of person, the regular 16 does have a bit more of a chalkboard-like finish as opposed to this satiny color on the Pro. That is interesting. I've actually never seen them side by side like this, so this is new for me as well. And can I just say, it's about time that we get some color-matched braided USB-C cables. You get those with a MacBook. I really want them with an iPhone. I think that would be really sick. The time has come now for the final iPhone 16 Pro, and this is the one that I've been saving for last because I'm nervous. This is the color that I bought on my personal phone back in the US, so I'm really hoping that I like it. All right, this is the new Desert Titanium, and oh, okay, it's a bit more pinky than I thought it was gonna be. Now, the reason that I didn't go for the black or blue 15 Pro is because I know that these painted side rails are going to show scuffs, smudges, and scratches a little bit more. So if that's your main concern, if you're using a caseless like me, natural and white are definitely your best option, because those unpainted side rails, which are actually very slightly different. I've actually never noticed that before. But the white titanium is just a bit lighter than natural. Both of these are going to age really, really well. I've got my 15 Pro Max over here. You can see after a year, it looks basically the same. That being said, if you're gonna go for a painted phone, I think this Desert Titanium should hold up pretty well, just because it's a very similar shade. There's clearly not a ton of paint on it, and because the contrast between the color of the titanium and the bare metal underneath is pretty low, I think you could get away with a couple of drops, a couple of spills, and not have super noticeable scarring on the phone. So there you have every single color of iPhone 16 and 16 Pro. Now, most normal people do this in 2 separate videos, but not me, because I'm weird. This year, I think the regular iPhone and the Pro iPhone are more similar than ever before, to the degree that if you had ProMotion on the regular iPhone 16, I would seriously be considering switching to a 16 or a 16 Plus. I guess I'm setting these up to be in Australia. Now my phone's gonna say, "Good eye, mate. Would you like a fresh shrimp on the barbie?" So now that we've got all 9 iPhone 16s activated, I'm honestly surprised at how noticeably different the display is on the 16 Pro versus the 16 regular. Now, if you're a normal person, you're probably not gonna notice the ever so slightly larger display or those slightly thinner bezels, but if you are chronically online like me, I definitely pick up on that. What is a lot more subtle than I was expecting though is the difference in size between these devices. You can see the 16 Pro is just a little bit taller, and honestly, it's barely wider. It's barely detectable. So if you are worried that the Pros are now getting a little bit too big, I don't think it's that big a deal. Now, I need to get my hands on the Pro Max because I think that the size when you're talking about a gigantic phone is a lot more noticeable than when you're talking about a more mid-size phone like these devices. And another funny thing I noticed is, given that this is launch day, there are a couple of bugs that I've spotted. For example, this 16 is apparently charging via Bluetooth, and when I was setting up the Desert Titanium 16 Pro, it kept failing activation and getting hung up in the setup process. I ended up having to restart the phone a couple of times to get it to work. So a couple of bugs here, but overall, I'm very interested in doing a bit more testing on this year's iPhone. It's kind of hard to gauge where people's sentiment is this year. My sense from the early reviews and a little bit of time spent playing with all of these phones is that the new camera control button is a nice feature, but it's not a game changer. And the iPhone 16 regular seems to have received a bigger update than the Pro. What I'm curious about is to see if people with an iPhone 12, 13 or 14 Pro might decide this year to switch to the regular phone, just because I think the value proposition is really strong. I'm super curious to hear what you guys think, so let me know in the comments down below. And of course, we've got a bunch of phones here. I've got a ton of stuff planned, and honestly, some of the videos that I'm working on are going to take me a very long time. I don't want to give away too much, but if you're thinking, oh boy, another dumbass YouTuber buying 9 iPhones just so he can go return them after the video's done, no. I've got a lot of stuff planned. So if you liked the video, leave a like down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.